feminine magnetism. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, I believe that we all have that at the core of our being, and it's a beautiful thing. So how can you harness and embrace more of that? So before I get started, don't forget to like and subscribe this channel. We're Divine Feminines on YouTube and all major podcast platforms. That's Apple, Spotify, Google, and we're also on socials. That's Instagram and TikTok. And that's Divine Feminines with a Z at the end. Now, why like and subscribe this channel? We have great content, whether you're a man, woman, whether you resonate with the twin flame journey, you just want to become your best self and create union with your mind, body and soul, and really get that sense of connection to your higher self, and balance that with this 3D reality, right? We talk the new paradigm of love. We talk inspiration for getting most out of how to manifest and magnetize what you want to your life. And I do special bonus content on YouTube. So if you subscribe to YouTube, you'll get this as well. It's all about the moon manifestation, moon rituals, full moon guidance, energy updates and energy portal updates around significant milestones across the year. So let's get started. Cultivating feminine magnetism. I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to share my suggestions of how you can really be in that essence to really be in your feminine magnetism. But first of all, I would like to just sort of set the scene with the way you know. So let's work out how you kind of know maybe you're not harnessing your feminine magnetism and using it at the core of your being, is if you're sort of starting to feel stiff, you're feeling sluggish, as if the energy within you is feeling a bit like just stagnant, like you kind of feel like, and it doesn't necessarily mean because you haven't gone out or you haven't done a run or a physical exercise. It doesn't always mean that it's that. You could just feel it inside as well, right? You could be working out loads and doing lots of physical exercise, but there's something in you that feels a little bit like it feels heavy, it doesn't feel great, kind of, you don't understand it, but it's kind of like, it kind of annoys you. You know that, so to the opposite of that, that sense of feeling that whether it's internal, external, you just feel this radiance around you, right? And you just feel like smiling all the time, you're in such a good mood, and you just can't put your finger on it, but it just feels good and you feel good. And it's not necessarily something has to happen for you to feel like that. It's just a natural vibe. It's a natural frequency. It's a natural vibration that just makes you just go, I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling really good, right? And whether it, like I said, it doesn't have to be that there's an instant gratification or a validation to you, but it's just this sense, it's a feeling. You can't really put your finger on it, but it's a sense of confidence. It's a sense of, I'm in my flow. It's a sense of freedom. It's a sense of happiness. It's a sense of feeling sexy, being in your element, right? That is, to me, feminine magnetism. That is really being in that magnetizing feminine energy where things around you feel great, inside feels good. When you walk around outside, you just see it, feel it, and breathe it. And it whether that's someone smiling at you, or you hear the birds chirping, or the sun just like shines and just hits your face in a certain angle, or you just see a sign, or you just, none of that happens actually, but it just feels great. Like, it just feels great, right? So for any of you that have probably been in difficult times, or faced trauma, or faced like unfortunate situations in life, whether it's a breakup, someone passing, it's a chronic illness, you've lost your job, it's a life-changing situation, family problems, health issues, whatever it is, you probably will resonate of having some kind of stress, anxiety, upset, worry. And when you're in those vibrations, of course, you will feel not so much who you really are, and you lose confidence in those moments, right? It's quite self-depleting. It can be quite demoralizing as well. Like if something's gone wrong, or something's going wrong, especially if it's to your body, or the way you feel, or someone's broken your heart, whatever it is, and you're quite rightly, where you're at is where you're at, and you can't avoid that, but it's how you navigate through. And it can be really hard in those moments, and those moments teach you, almost like I always say, like sometimes you really need to hit rock bottom to really understand how to make the most out of life and how to navigate thereafter. So for me, it is a bit like that, almost go into a place that you don't really want to go to experience that contrast. And Abraham Hicks, who I love, talks about contrast. Like, it's necessary to understand contrast, because then you know when you're in the vortex and when you're not. And this magnetizing energy, you know, the feminine magnetism, very much aligns to being in that vortex, because you just feel good. It's feeling, breathing, and just everything's just nice. It's very much the same thing, I feel, in many ways. But that magnetism helps us, when we cultivate it, helps us to get into that full vortex, because there's a lot more going on in that vortex, and we can experience so much alignment, great attraction, just amazing things that we wouldn't have necessarily have thought of, because we open and we expand to it. Now, it's hard, right? Because if you've gone through something that's made you hit rock bottom, and you might have been getting your way back up, and you're working on things and you're doing well, you still may have days where you're feeling a bit sluggish, or you might feel good for 1 or 2 days and then you might not feel. So there's the big word of consistency and being consistent. So some of my suggestions that I'm going to share, I hope will serve you well, and you can use consistently, and when used consistently, will help you to cultivate that feminine magnetism, will help you to allow yourself to be in that flow, and allow yourself to be able to jump into that vortex more often than you do now. So when we talk about meditation and reconnecting to the body and looking after your health and all of that stuff, it's advised that those things are done daily, right? And that then allows you to really create that rhythm. And they say, I think it's about 3 weeks. If you take on any new habit, it's about 21 days. If you keep doing it for 21 days, it basically sticks with you more. So that's, for me, that's waking up a bit earlier, or maybe you're going to bed a bit later, or earlier as well. Or you want to eat a bit healthier, or you're going to focus on more yoga, or more running, or whatever it is, or whatever target you've got. If you train your body to do it for 21 days, thereafter you're in a sense of, it's almost like a given habit, a good habit that you've trained, and it's easy to then consistently continue it. So for me, I did something like going to the gym every day, even if I'm not doing like a whole hour. Sometimes I might just do 20 minutes. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. Sometimes it can be an hour, but I'm making sure I go regardless, so that that consistency is there. And then I can like work on like trying to do other things on top of that to build on it. So with magnetizing energy, cultivating it, looking after your feminine, really finding ways to just harness that feminine magnetism, there needs to be commitment, there needs to be consistency. And this goes out to all my men and women. So the first one's about beauty, because if you look good, you feel good, and everything's just good around you, and you're already like looking in the mirror going, oh yeah, I look good. And then you're already naturally feeling good, and then there's just that aura, it just reflects, it just emanates from you, that oh, it's a feel good factor, right? And the people around you pick up on it. It's a vibration. It also builds and boosts your confidence. So, you know, beauty is really about how you feel. It's not necessarily how you look, but it can be related to how you appear, of course, and to yourself and others, right? So but you could have beauty in the home, and like have a very nice decor internally of your home, and that interior decor just really makes you feel good, and you see it every morning when you wake up. You see beautiful, I don't know, painted walls, some art, beautiful plants, and you just smile and just go, ah, and it makes you feel good. So beauty does connect to that feeling, and gives us self-confidence. So how can you allow beauty into your life? And how can you allow it to just be an effortless unfolding, right? So start with the basics. Look at your wardrobe. You know, wear clothes that make you feel beautiful. You know, you might look at your wardrobe and you might be wearing the same old, or do you know sometimes, and I know this happens to all of us, that you probably have loads of clothes in your wardrobe, and then you just wear the last things that you've just washed. So you're kind of recycling the same things, but there's loads of nice stuff that you've got that you haven't been wearing. Or maybe you just need to declutter some of that wardrobe as well. Like maybe some of the clothing in there is a bit, resonates to an earlier version of you, or when, you know, a part in your life where actually you don't really want to remember those times, and those clothes actually represent it. I personally get rid of everything, and I've done it, and it's such a great move to do that, because you clear the energy with it. But yeah, have a look at your wardrobe, look at clothes that are going to make you feel beautiful, and actually you could preempt it. So whether it's a Sunday or Monday, you're looking at the rest of the week, you go, I want to feel good this week. I want to dress good this week, because I know that's going to, and whether you're working from home or you're out and about, like, it can be casual and still be really nice, or it could be fancy if you're going out, or, you could be going into town, and whatever you want to wear. And I definitely, just sharing with you guys, like, I'll go out when I'm traveling, and sometimes I go to very fancy restaurants, and sometimes I don't. I just go to like a normal stand restaurant. And I notice a lot of the time, some of the people are just wearing just jeans and a top, or a skirt and a top. But I've got these nice dresses that I love. And when I put them on, they make me feel like a goddess. So I just wear what I wear. And I know that I probably stand out and stuff, but who cares? Because I know I look good. I feel good in it. Most importantly, I feel good in it. It makes me feel great, and it makes me just feel the empowering energy of who I really am. And it's my image. Like, that's how I look. And actually, I notice this a lot. Like, I go to places and I stand out loads because I dress very different. But that's my image. That's a self-expression. And I think it's great. It helps you build your confidence, because it says a lot about you in terms of the colors you pick and stuff like that. Now, who cares what anyone thinks? But it's got to be something that you like, right? So, look at the clothes, decorate your space as well. So, yeah, pick clothes out that makes you feel good. Maybe you might want to do a bit of shopping. I'm not trying to get you in trouble and start getting you to spend, but maybe you want to declutter and look at other clothes, and maybe do mood boards of like new styles you want to try and stuff like that, right? And then the beauty in your space, like, how does your home look? Can you bring more beauty into your home? Like, maybe it's plants, maybe it's flowers, maybe it's a bit of art, maybe it's rearranging stuff, maybe you actually want to bring in some different furniture, or it could even be your bed linen. I love bed linen. Let me not go there, because I'll go into this whole thing, but like, I've got this whole thing about bed linen, and the pillows, and what kind of cotton I'm sleeping in, and it makes me feel good. Like, I'll go to bed at night, and when I'm at home, in my actual home where I have my own bed linen, because I'm always on the move, but when I'm there, and it just makes me, like, that's the bit that I love, getting into bed and just hugging that linen, because I know I've probably invested into it, it's not cheap, or I bought nice colours, and I look at the colours and it just makes me feel so good. Waking up in the morning, it just feels good. Like, I can't tell you, but it just feels good. So yeah, think of ways of how you want to maybe just bring your space to a nice vibration. Maybe you want to change it up. Maybe you don't have to. I'm not trying to get you to spend loads of money. You could just rearrange things and bring, like, flowers. Just really brighten up the place. And I love my flowers. I always get my flowers, and just having plants and just beautiful kind of vibrations around me. So that is a really nice way to bring that beauty into your space. And beauty is something that can really make you feel that confidence, like I said, and let you be in your feminine. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. Feeling good is important, and feeling confident about how you look and stuff, but don't get too caught up in it. So even with, like, the makeup, if you feel like the makeup's going to give you a little bit of that sense of, yeah, then do it. I'm not like pro makeup person, as you know, or whatever. Like, I don't wear anything on my face. I don't wear makeup at all. I'm constantly just natural skin, and I just invest more of my energy, and maybe if I'm spending, into good skincare, and I focus more on my skincare routines and things like that. And that for me is important. I don't really want to wear makeup because it doesn't feel right for me. I feel like I'm covering up my beauty, but I understand, and I used to wear makeup, and particularly, if you've got like skin problems and things like that, it can help. But also, if you're going out and you want to feel a bit glam, there's nothing wrong with it, but just don't get too caught up in overdoing it, because social media and the media over egg this, and they're putting, there's a lot of just personas out there in the world that are just constantly, just they're either covered with makeup. It's always makeup. You don't even know what they look like underneath, hardly ever. And then a lot of our young females are just, and even just older females, are kind of getting a bit caught up by that whole aesthetic, and it can be quite tough. You know, you're trying to kind of compete or live up to that standard, and that's not a standard that's realistic. Also, all these fillers and Botox and surgery and all of that, that's everywhere. And most of these people that you see on socials don't even look like that when you see them in real life. Or if you see them in real life, you can tell that they've got loads of makeup on, or they've done loads of work to themselves. So don't get too caught up in that side of it. If you want to wear a bit of makeup, do it, but don't get too like spend hours and hours getting yourself ready, because then there's a point where this starts to become something not positive, because you're almost trying to overdo the way you look and you're going down a different path. It should just be a nice little sprucing up of what you're about. And you know, it's supposed to just make you feel a little bit better. You're not supposed to be going crazy through, you know, hours of spent, like that becomes a bit of an obsession, and then it becomes a bit of like, I don't look good enough, and then it goes down that route, right? So we don't really want that at all. That's going to be counterintuitive. You know, and also just how you enhance your space. Like I said, again, don't go too crazy on it, but you could just do small little things, and you could just start to like think about that over time. Maybe decluttering your space can help, and just tidying it up and shifting things around. Beauty also exists just by admiring nice art. So you could just go to a really lovely gardens and just admire the beauty of the flowers, the plants. I love just when I'm on my nature walks, just admiring the natural nature and its beauty, in its essence, in its flow, in its just natural state. You could go to an art museum. You could go to places that, you know, it could be places of design, places of creativity. This is really the energy of creativity. And when we're cultivating more of our feminine magnetism, we are really cultivating more of our feminine creativity and inspiration within, right? And then that flows. And then going into flow, you know, allowing your feminine magnetism to flow. How do you allow the flow? Well, many cultures, ancient Asian cultures, they definitely focus on movement and dance and yoga and moving the body. So getting into the flow is definitely good to let the body move. That will help any stagnant energy. I'll give you an example. Like sometimes you might eat something and it just feels really heavy. Go for a walk, allow your body to move. Allow it to shift, because physically, this is why I'm giving you the example and the analogy, because you eat something and it's quite heavy here, right? And you're like, oh. And the best thing to do is for it to shift is actually movement, just walking. Maybe you might want to do some exercise. But I always make sure that if I've ever got that moment where I've eaten something, and definitely it's when I'm out, and I just feel really heavy or bloated, walking, movement, yoga. But even if you don't have that my point is that is just a great way to move, to release energy, to allow yourself to kind of ebb and flow and just shift energy generally. You don't have to necessarily you could take up a dance class, you could do yoga. Dancing's fun and it really creates creativity and it's great self-expression. But if you're not really into dance, then maybe walking, doing other types of movement. You could even just go out to the bar and the club and just dance with your friends all night. Just don't over drink and do craziness there, because then then that becomes counterintuitive, and then you're really not in your flow. You're almost putting yourself back into a stagnant place of energy, because the next day you've got a hangover and you feel shit. So just be mindful of what I'm saying here. But yeah, you know, your body and the environment, they're all connected. We're connected. So the more you shift that energy, the more the environment works with you. So I love being in the space of nature. So doing that and being in nature, grounding, taking off your shoes and socks and just walking on the earth and earthing and feeling those great ions to the soles of your feet to just really rejuvenate yourself. That's just a great way to just, yeah, it's the best way for rejuvenation, to be honest with you. So, you know, anything that makes you feel sluggish, ask yourself, you know, just ask yourself, what is it like? Is it actually like I just feel heavy, or I feel tired, or I haven't really done any exercise, or whatever it is? Try and get yourself moving, even if you do something in the house. You don't, if you feel like, oh my God, dancing and I don't want to go to a dance class, put some music on and just dance. Or you can get loads of great YouTube videos for dance, for yoga, and you can start building up your confidence at home. If that's where you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to a class because, other people are going to be better than you. Know that everyone's different. Everyone has to be different. This is the way it goes. And I go to yoga classes and there's loads of others, like people in the class that are better than me in terms of, I say better than me, they're just more refined in what they do. They have more practice. They have the ability to do certain moves I can't, but I don't let that put me off because it's all a journey. And that's what I love about yoga, because it talks about being on a journey and you always can learn. Even the teacher's always learning. So that's a great way to move and shift energy. And when you build up that confidence, and even just dancing around and all of that, it really says a lot about how you feel about your body. And then it reciprocates, it amplifies with the external. And there is then that connection to the external, to nature, to the universe. Now, the next one's about mindfulness, but practicing sensual mindfulness, slowing down your actions. So this is the opposite, slowing down your actions, your sights, your senses, your tastes, and all the sounds around you, really slowing down. And sensuality is around being, like feeling and really enjoying, right? So you can receive that present moment and really be in that moment of pleasure and enjoyment. Before I came to record this video, I was really enjoying just the sounds of the birds. It was absolutely beautiful. I took a video to send to some friends, and I just loved it. I was just admiring the leaves moving and the way the trees were swaying. A few butterflies went past and I just absolutely loved it. And I didn't think about it. I was just in the moment. And that is a really good example to give you guys. So as you become more aware of your surroundings and the place within them, feel how beauty and pleasure begins to foster within you, because the beauty around, we are all one, we are all connected. So when you feel and experience that beauty and you calm down and slow down to be in that moment of sensuality and appreciation, it just emanates within you. It just actually radiates and lights you up as well, which is actually really beautiful. And then the meditation can also cultivate sensuality, because meditation calls for us to be still, for us to pay attention to our senses and to just really be at one with ourselves. I know some don't like just being still, but try it, because we're always on the go. And especially my feminines, we are healing quite distorted feminine energy, and we're healing quite imbalanced masculine energy, where it's always on the go, prove that you're doing what you're doing, and it's almost very active, action-based energy, and that leads to burnout. So being in mindfulness, being in meditation calls us to kind of take a rest, be with ourselves, get to know ourselves, take a step back, because results are not always going to be rewarded for that. The more you do is not the more you get. And I think this is the narrative that has been out there for the longest time. The harder you work, the more you'll get. The harder, you need to work really, really, really hard. Of course we need to work. I'm not saying we don't, but there needs to be balance, and we need to be gentle with ourselves. We need to know that we need to rest. We need to be mindful about when that rest needs to happen as well, because it's important for us to get that rest. Otherwise, like I said, we get to burnout and we get to a point of things are just not moving right, and that's where you're going to feel sluggish, actually, because you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel exhausted, energy will feel stagnant. So you can also play mantra music to get you into the mood, binaural beats. You can go for a walk and try to, thoughts will come to you. In meditation, thoughts come to you. Just don't avoid them. See them. Okay, you're here, go. And, and the more and more you practice that, it will be easier to get into a moment of presence. And sometimes if you need some music to help you, that's great. And the final one's around confidence, being able to exude your confidence. But you need to be confident with yourself. And I like doing these techniques of talking to myself in the mirror, really just making sure doing a check-in of affirmations to the mirror as well are great. Like, I am beautiful, I am radiant, I am worthy, I am deserving, I can trust, I can flow, I can surrender, I can allow, I can be. I am cultivating my feminine magnetism. I am a divine feminine, or I'm divine masculine, but my masculine and my feminine energy is in balance, and I consistently cultivate towards this balance of finding, of my self-union. So things like that will help you build your confidence. You can also even say, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I'm full of vitality, I'm radiant, I'm, all of that good stuff. I'm a goddess, I'm a god, I'm a king, I'm a queen. This will really help you. If you're saying this daily, trust me, there will be a shift in the way that you think about yourself. And if you're also looking in that mirror and you've put on something that you like and you're saying it too, and you like your hair, and that was the other one I was going to say, doing your hair. I mean, I think you guys know about me. I've changing my hairstyles all the time, but it gives me a lot of joy. It's like a bit of a self-expression, especially my new one with the boho locks. Shout out boho locks because I really like their styles. It makes me feel great, and I feel like, wow, like I'm embodying the energy that I really feel I am, and it's actually a great self-expression and representation of who I am. And people love it. I like that look on you. And then we start talking, and they really, and someone said to me, shout out my soul tribe that said this to me. It's like, you actually really own the energy when you change those hairstyles. You really actually embody it so well. It just looks so good on you. So I can't imagine a hairstyle that wouldn't look good on you. So that was a really nice compliment. But that for me is a great self-expression, but it also gives you confidence. I've always been about hair actually since probably teenage years, and got into it and always like to have my hair done nicely and stuff like that. And that makes me feel my confidence. Also, like I said, looking after your skin and your body and your health, what you're putting into your body and how you're eating and exercising will also boost your confidence, because you're going to feel better for looking after yourself better. And then that overall is your cultivation of that feminine magnetism. But there is a concept called KonMari for confidence, and KonMari is the name of a method perfected by a professional organizer, Marie Kondo. And KonMari, some people KonMari their wardrobe often. So instead of asking, does it spark joy, Kondo, she recommends to ask, does this make me feel sexy and confident? So looking at those, those moments where you're picking what to wear and how to dress and stuff. And if it doesn't, then donate the item away, give it away, and perhaps it will make another person feel sexy and confident. And in that, you can start to find what clothes and items that make you feel really sexy and confident. And that's all. And KonMari is all about energy flow. So think how you can implement the tactics of Marie Kondo's suggestions. Look her up into your everyday life to promote, that feminine energy flow. And what is it that you could declutter, from the pantry or refrigerator, your photos, your files. This is a great, it's just a purging, great to do it around a full moon. And I always say, I've purged and decluttered loads of things, but then you still have more stuff that comes up, and you're like, oh, actually that needs to go. So it can be a consistent thing that you do. Even your relationships, both personal and professional, like some things might not be serving you, might be dampening you. It's a great way to declutter, to cleanse, to change things. Maybe you need to step back from certain people, set boundaries. That also helps to cultivate the feminine magnetism, but specifically helps to cultivate your confidence, because you're owning your situation, you're owning things for the happiness of yourself, which is the most important thing. You're filling your cup and you're looking after number one. And number one matters, because when you look after number one, everything else around you changes for the better. You heal, the earth heals. You're more confident, everyone around you treats you better. You're more happiest and joyous, everyone around you will be happy and joyful around you. That's the time for me to wrap up anyway. So I hope that this helps you. these ideas, I've definitely spoken about these concepts before, but particularly for being in your feminine magnetism, because when you're in that feminine magnetism, you are then able to attract more of what you want versus you don't want. You're able to be expansive and to call in more of those experiences to help you expand. And that cultivation of that feminine energy and that magnetism that it generates, right, is a master manifester generation. It is the master manifester energy of creativity, of abundance, of joy, of alignment, of being in that vortex. So man or woman, you all have that. So I hope this helps, guys and girls. I'm sending you lots of love, light, peace, and abundance. Till the next time. See you later. Bye.